is one sweet ass. Well, hello and welcome back, my friends. You know how it goes. Same ship, different day. Thank you so much for checking out the Spaceman and joining in on a little bit of story time. So how about we cover some Ask Reddit one more time? First question for today. What was the most fucked up thing you saw at your school? Harry downtown. Hey, to each his own. A new kid at our school grabbed the art teacher's scissors and then threw them over a dividing wall when the teacher left the room. They hit some girl in a different art class on the other side and one of the blades went through her cheek. We were held after class until he finally confessed, and we saw the police at the school later. He had been at our school for about a week, and we never saw him again after that day. Yikes. Diltra. Middle school. Girl had the sewing machine needle going right through her finger, the left, with the needle and thread just hanging out. Another kid had an X-Acto knife stabbed right through his wrist by accident, so close to the artery. High school. Girl was run over by a bus. It backed over her, then pulled forward over her again. We had fundraisers and pep rallies for her. She made a full recovery and is still playing sports at almost 40 now. Sex in the bathroom. Endangered turtle was found during construction. All construction had to stop until the turtle moved out. PE teacher. ... You know how that goes. Oh my god, ran over by a bus twice and made a full recovery. What a badass. Country 728. Some kids were punching a mason jar lid that were used to seal a jar with some bug in it. They were doing it as some sort of who's tougher test. When the teacher sees this and sees they have small scratches on their knuckles, she proceeds to tell them that She proceeds to tell them that the bug was poisonous and that they will die very soon since they drew blood punching the lid. We were maybe 10 at the time. She made them write goodbye notes to their parents and make goodbye speeches to class. We were all tripping because we believed her too. It was wild. Oh my god, what a savage. Teachers back in the day, definitely don't make them like they used to. Dippy Cat 149. Not saw, but I did experience the aftermath. A kid at our school died once while out on a school camp. They were way out in the Australian outback. The teachers made barbecue for the kids, and one of the boys, for some reason, ate the food.
Kebabs.
Without asking what was in them, even though his parents had filled out his permission form indicating clearly that he had food allergies. Long story short, hardcore anaphylaxis. Throat swelled shut, fell to the ground, foaming. School nurse stabbed him with every single EpiPen they had in the medical kit. Nothing, nada, zip, fuck all happened. Picked him up, threw him in the van, and sped out of the campsite at top speed down the road. They were so far out in the middle of nowhere that there's no phone reception, can't do anything, can't call for an ambulance, helicopter, nothing. Finally got to the nearest town, called emergency services, helicopter arrived, loaded the kid onto it, started treatment, flew straight back to town. Never made it. Dead before the chopper landed. I was working at the school at the time.
I had a job offered by the school graduates, which I accepted.
And found out all the details from the school nurse. Crazy story indeed. Demonic spy. Back in 3rd grade,
1997?
a classmate of mine was acting out. I'm not sure if our teacher was in a bad mood or this was accepted behavior back in the day, but he made the troubled student come up front of the classroom. He then grabbed this kid by the neck, pinned him against the wall, and proceeded to lift him up off the ground as high as he could. I don't remember exactly what was said, but I do remember our teacher saying,
"I could kill you if I wanted to, but not today,"
as he dropped him. Rebelbot 1. That teacher pulled some Darth Vader shit. No doubt, Rebelbot 1. Back when I was a wee spaceman, the era of teachers beating kids was on the downswing. Grimlong. At my high school, there was this stairwell that people would go to fool around in. It got to the point where it was called
Blowjob Corner.
Almost 30 years later, my son goes to that school. I made a joke to him about staying away from the seaside stairs near the cafeteria and he said, "You mean Blowjob Corner?" They put in cameras because of that. Cut to me with the surprised Pikachu face. Wow, Blowjob Corner has stood the test of time apparently. Spiggerish. This happened at the school I teach at about 2 months ago. A kid went up to the 10th floor and jumped. He left a suicide note on his WhatsApp story that was written for his girlfriend. It basically said, I'm paraphrasing,
"We never get to see each other, and I always miss you so much it hurts. That's why I'm going to kill myself."
And then he did. One of the other teachers found him outside on the ground bleeding. He's been there for over an hour apparently, in winter. He died in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. He was in grade 10 and his girlfriend was in grade 8. I cannot imagine the shit he put her through. Put that on a 14-year-old is crazy. Yeah, talk about a mind fuck. Own error 4828. When I was a seniors, I went to one of the trashiest schools in my state. Some real redneck pride kind of stuff. There were 2 freshmen, total boners, but they were
Tough shit.
apparently. I remember it was the day before homecoming. They lured one of the special education kids into the boys' restroom and barricaded the door. They proceeded to beat the ever-living shit out of this kid and take pictures of each other, forcing a barely conscious far-spectrum autistic kid to fillet them. This part I didn't see, of course. What I did witness was after school. I got benched in football for smoking weed, so coach made me help coach freshmen, so I wouldn't feel left out or useless. The freshmen practiced on a different field that got a great view of the parking lot. The victim had already been taken away, and the 2 other kids were being questioned at the school. This was probably an hour after the school let out. An officer came out with one of the attackers and was walking him across the pavilion. From the other side, another person, huge dude, got out of the car and started walking towards the officer and then one attacker. When they finally crossed paths, the huge guy gets one hit at the kid, knocking him down immediately, then dropped another fist while the kid was flat against the concrete. Turned out the big guy was the autistic kid's dad, and nobody ever saw the one attacker again. There were a couple rumors spreading. Some said the kid was killed by the second punch, and other people were saying that the impact scrambled his brains. The other attacker, I couldn't tell you. Nobody cared enough about him to start any rumors or spread any news. Well. Fuck around and find out, I guess, huh? I'm totally with the dad on this one. Only difference is that kid's father would also be getting a visit same day. But anyway, how about we move on to the next question? What ended your friendship with a former best friend? Weird, bro. His wife cheated on him. I was the bad guy for trying to let him know. Well, sometimes you just can't help him, man. Sounds like denial to me. Always my fault. Sorry to hear that, but it can't always be your fault, huh? Lots of little shit that eventually pissed me off to where I told him to F off. For example, 7 to 8 years ago, he bought 15 tickets for a midnight premiere of Jurassic World for our entire friends group to attend. The day of the show, he texted me to tell me that he forgot to buy my ticket, so I couldn't go. Of the 15 he bought, how did he decide it was my ticket that he didn't buy? Turns out, he gave my ticket to a girl he met the week prior so he could take her with instead. That was just one of many things where he fucked me. It's all truly minor stuff like that, but when you have 100 minor things, it becomes clear that they weren't actually your friend anymore. Yeah, always my fault. Kinda sounds like you're an option for the most part. Sometimes you just gotta move on. Leash 26. Went on a mini vacay.
Was supposed to be 4 days.
With my best friend in 2021 to NJ. She brought her then 8-year-old son. I brought my then 4-year-old daughter. Her son was so disrespectful, swearing, nasty attitude, and so mean to my daughter the entire trip. The last straw was on the morning of the 3rd day when he ripped a box of cereal out of my daughter's hand. She started crying and he slapped her across her head. I tried disciplining him and my friend blew up at me and proceeded to defend her son as she called my daughter a
White baby.
We started arguing. I packed our bags and said we're leaving. I drove 4 hours home without saying a single word to her or her son. Got to her house, threw her bags on the front lawn, and peeled out of her driveway. Wow, props to you for still being nice enough to actually give them a ride back home. I'd be tempted to say, stay your ass here, I'm out.
See ya.
Mark Hamill's right nut. Damn, I'm sure gravity must have taken its toll over the years. He fucked a mutual friend's wife, confided in me that it was happening. I told him he had to end it and come clean. Instead of doing the right thing, he started lying to me about it. Long story short, I ended our friendship over 15 years. Mullet pullet. You always gotta have respect for a nice clean mullet. Similar to mine. My friend was seeing a woman, living with her. We'd hang out when we went there to visit and everything was fine. But he would come to our city and visit and would fuck around. He kept claiming everything was on the up and up, and the girl he was in a relationship was fine with that. Well, at some point, my wife friended her on Facebook, and my friend lost his shit over it. Was saying my wife was meddling in their relationship, etc. But here's the thing, if everything was on the up and up, why would that have bothered him? Clearly, he had been lying to us, and ashamed because the girl he was seeing was so sweet. We had to cut ties because it was just so hard to watch him mistreat someone. best men in each other's weddings and all. But he changed after his divorce, treated people around him terribly. Friendship for about 20 years ended just like that. Sometimes people just change, mullet pullet. It does suck, especially if you got a history. But all you can do is move on. Mijo 1987. He got a girlfriend, so less time for me. After a few years, I got home and saw them moving stuff out. We live in the same apartment, different floor. They never said anything to me at all. No hint. They just left. Not even a card or an invitation. That was the end of the friendship. I'd call that some bullshit, Mijo 1987. Sometimes that punani power just changes a man for the worse. Automatic prick 2481. Not a manual prick, everybody. An automatic prick. He got a DUI while driving my car and then lied about it. And lied about why my car was towed. He lied about losing his license.
Suddenly, he just wanted to walk everywhere for exercise.
He lied to my friends and told them it was my fault because registration had lapsed. When I finally confronted him about it, he kept lying. Well, automatic prick, your friend kind of sounded like an automatic dick, because that was some dick shit that he was pulling on you, man. Almost Cyclops. So does that mean you have like a half eye? 1.5? He went to prison for soliciting sex with a minor. Whole thing was a sting set up through online exchanges so no one was actually hurt. Broke my heart though when I heard the news. Especially since there were warning signs, which I've since thought about quite a bit. Had it not happened, he would have easily been one of my groomsmen, only a few years later. Sorry to hear that, Almost Cyclops. Your friend was almost a pedophile, but today, you can probably guarantee that he is not almost, but definitely somebody's bitch. Anxious Blob 8. She told me I was her best friend, but didn't put me in her wedding party, but continued to ask me for wedding styling advice for her bridesmaids. It all stung, but I got over it. She also told me she needed me at her bachelorette and I was helping her brainstorm ideas. We talked daily. One morning we talked like normal, and that evening I saw posts of her on her bachelorette. We'd been best friends since high school. She had a girl she'd only known for 6 months on the trip with her. Her response when I asked her about it?
Oh, someone surprised me with it. Sorry you're upset.
Blocked her and haven't looked back.
And I've been a bridesmaid for better friends multiple times since.
Good on you, Anxious Blob 8. Apparently this wasn't your bestie. She was just a user and an abuser. Good riddance. Juan Sanchez started to drink a lot. Then started to hang with people who constantly made fun of him, but hanged with him because he supplied a fuck ton of alcohol. He was going out to bars every day. He then started to talk shit about my GF, now wife, telling everybody she was trash and the reason I wouldn't go out to bars with him. Also, I was a fucking pussy not doing so. The reason I wouldn't go out with him was because he was a fucking thrash of a man. I tried to help him and he turned me down hard. Also, I was working full-time and going to college. And as you can see, folks, Juan C. Sanchez closes his post with a very heartfelt,
Fuck you, Bobby.
yeah, Juan C. Sanchez, alcohol can change people. Sometimes they become a slave to that bottle. Glad you moved on, sir. And we're gonna wrap this up with that final post, everyone. And instead of a fuck you, I'd like to give a
Fuck yeah!
if you made it to the end, because I do appreciate it very, very much. So if you enjoyed it, folks, please consider a like, a comment, and a subscribe, because the Spaceman is trying to grow. Alright, take care, friends. CB is signing off. 07.